Yo, it's D.Arthur in the building. I'm talking to you guys today about seminal retention again. And I'm talking to you guys today about how it will give you the unfair advantage over your fellow man, over your competitors while you're on retention. If there's ever been a time in your life where you would say you were lacking in some area of your life, or there's some area of your life that just wasn't like that you weren't too pleased with or anything like that, maybe is your relationship life isn't where it wants to be, your finances aren't where you really want it to be, you don't get the choosing signals that you really want, your employer talks to you like you're the scum of the earth, or you're not really too fond of the person you're with. If there was ever any area of your life that you were just very not happy with, and if you're a guy, the best advice for me, the best advice that I would say is to retain and use your retention mixed with delayed gratification. There's a lot of people who like to say that when the physical realm hasn't when the outside circumstances doesn't look like it's really there, and it seems like all hope is lost, it seems like everything is crumbled down, and you're seeing evidence of that. There's a lot of guys who like to give up, who like to call it quits, who like to play the victim. But the man who has true power is to think of how he wants his life to be, even in the midst of circumstances that are not aligned with what he wants at the current moment. You have to start looking at things as if they're becoming something instead of what they just are. And this really is the difference between anything. Now, how will semen retention make you more attractive to not even women in general, but just make you more of a well-rounded person, and make you more give you more of a, let's say, advantage over other men, is that because you come with the zest, you come with the oomph, you come with the X factor, you come with the extra layer of energy that is very, let's say, attractive to, let's say, women. And this is really how you really can get like what you want. So the key is to retain, and even if there's some area of your life that you're not too fond of right now, you retain and you continually work no matter what until it becomes what you really want it to be. And your amplified energy will help you increase the fruits of your labor. So seminal retention will help you have the advantage over other men. It will just make you way more well-rounded. It will just help you, let's say, become who you really want to be. Now, the fastest way to increase attraction in, let's say, women and in general, is to be, let's say, with a woman. That's the fastest way. It's the fastest way. When women see you with when women see you with a woman, their, let's say, triggers go off, and they just say, hey, if he's with her, then he must be, let's say, he must be attractive, and you're gonna be a lot more, let's say, your sexual market value will go higher. So if there's ever anybody you wanted maybe to get back at, if there's anybody maybe you wanted to attract and you weren't sure really what to do, the best way to do that is just to be with other chicks. That's literally the best way. Like, people say, like, be on your purpose, do the work and all that, success and all that stuff. That's true to an extent, but a lot of guys think that, hey, if they're successful, they automatically will just get the woman. And it really doesn't really work like that, because, like, you still have to approach her. Like, she doesn't know all that about you as soon as she sees you. Like, that probably will come up later in the conversation. But in the beginning, she really doesn't know all that about you, and they think that just because they've done this, they've done that, or they have this, that they automatically can claim her. And that's not true. You have to still do the approach. You still have to be charismatic. Like, there's a lot of guys who like to be, let's say, locked up in their room and troll people on the internet and troll people online, and just like really don't have, let's say, are probably just mad about themselves, and they like to take it out on like other people. They're not too sure of themselves, so they like to take it out on others. And if you really want to be, let's say, better, or let's not say better, but let's say if you really want to overcome, let's say, adversity and criticism from people who aren't really who really try to criticize everything that you do, retain and delay your gratification. Just make sure that you just keep some certain things like in the back of your head, and you don't really talk about it, but it's still in the back of your head, and you're continuously and progressively working every single day. Because let's say if we're talking about competition, everybody wants to compete with the other person to see how much they have, how much better they are with them, and all these things. And if you really want, let's say, to be really happy with yourself to the point where you there has to be a point where you just really don't care about what others really say about you. At some point, that sums it up. That's really what it is. You just have to really not care as much what other people say about you. And when you're on retention, you really just don't care as much. Your life becomes way more beautiful. Your life becomes way more movie-like. Your life becomes way more sensational, as Future says it. It becomes like a very dreamlike, artistic-like, movie-like kind of sequence. And it can also become like, let's say, a video game, and you're basically the controller. You're dictating how you want the, let's say, mission to turn out. But there's a lot of guys who are extras in their own movie. They like to play. They play scared. They play afraid. They play that they're not gonna get what they want, and they already submit to life, even if it hasn't really unfolded for them how they want. And the first sign of adversity, first sign of resistance and not going their way, they submit the default button, and then they, let's say, quit the game, and then they're on a stimulation mode the entire game, the entire process. But the men who see adversity, look straight up at adversity, right in the eye, think how they really want to think in the midst of adversity, and think about the, let's say, how they really want their life to turn out, no matter how it looks like right now. Those are the guys who ultimately win in the end. Because a lot of guys, I mean, if you have an ambition to be like very wealthy, let's say, I mean, and your current circumstance is maybe the opposite of that. There's a lot of guys who like to look at their current circumstance, take it for what it is, and just think that's the end off. That's it. Nothing else will change. It's always going to be like this. It won't work. It's a scam. It won't do something. And the person who really thinks like that really won't really get what they want in life, because they're always submitting to environment instead of creating. You were put here to create, not to compete. You were put here to create, not to compete. So make sure you're creating all the time instead of trying to compete with your fellow man, because competition can really get you so far. Because being who you really want to be is ultimately the end goal, and not competing, let's say, with other people or other things, or trying to outdo your fellow man, or trying to be, let's say, envious of your fellow man because they have something that you want or something like that. There is abundance opportunity for all, and anybody who has who come from the creative standpoint, the creative mind, really can get what they want instead of competing with their fellow man. Yep. So, yep, take it for what it is. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to say. Yep, that's pretty much it. So make sure when you retain, you delay your gratification and you still get what you want in midst of adversity, in midst of someone telling you no, or the outside circumstances telling you that it won't happen. This is how the top 5% become the top 5%, and the bottom 95% stay where they're at. So like, comment, and subscribe below. Make sure your drive and ambition is always on point, because you will eventually see the fruits of your labor, and you will eventually attract anything that you really want and have the life that you really poorly desire when you're on retention. All of this happens when you retain, and you're very grateful for every single day. So we will see you in the next one. Peace out.